Okay. How could mentors guide future WPAs in learning how to deal with the demands of WPA work?
Okay. I think that generally effective mentors are people who have experienced something before the mentee has, and it has nothing to do with age, it has to do with experience. So sometimes the mentor can be younger than the mentee. But what a mentor needs to have a set of skills. The most important skill, I think, is listening. Listening to the concerns of the younger WPA, or the new, not younger, the new WPA, and to try to say, you know, in my experience or in the experience of other people, here are some solutions that have worked. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I can tell you about some things that tend to work, some things that don't tend to work. Here are some resources. Here are some ways that I'm willing to go to bat for you if you need that, because oftentimes we do need people to go to bat for us, and that doesn't end at any point in our careers. Yesterday I had a meeting with a vice president of ASU who was willing to go to bat for us on a couple issues. And so going to bat for someone is an important part of being a mentor.
What assumptions about WPA work recycle themselves even as circumstances surrounding our programs change? And you can change that question if you want.
Yeah. Well, you know, there are some assumptions about what writing is about that keep getting recycled all the time. For example, there are all sorts of people among the general public and university faculty and administrators who still have this notion that effective writing focuses on surface features of text. And we really need to address that and continue to address that. And unfortunately, that's never going to go away. At least I can't imagine that it's going to go away, so we're going to have to keep going on it. The other thing is that, you know, we really need to address this notion that a first-year writing program, or it might not just be first-year, a writing program is going to address all of the needs that students have to become more effective writers. Writing in first-year composition is not an inoculation against illiteracy. Learning to write is a lifelong endeavor, and we need to get students and faculty to understand that. We also need to help our colleagues in other disciplines understand what they can be doing to help students learn to write. I get a lot of faculty who say to me, well, I ask students to write and they don't perform well, so I start asking questions. And inevitably I find that all they do is assign writing, and the assignments are kind of vague and not very helpful, and they offer no instruction. They don't do little things like have students do work in a series of smaller projects that lead up to a larger project, that have a series of due dates to prevent procrastination. Procrastination is one of the biggest reasons that students don't perform well in their writing.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question. How can resistance be reframed as a positive force in writing program administration?
I think resistance is generally a good thing all the time. So when I was working with new TAs, I always enjoyed getting resistance from them because I understood where they were coming from, and that's the most important thing, is understand why are they resisting. Are they resisting just because they don't want to do this? Well, that's one thing, and there are some TAs who fall into that category. But oftentimes that resistance is related to how they were prepared to write, how they do their own writing, and oftentimes they have been spectacular writers in their lives, and they've not had to struggle the way that a lot of our other students do. So we need to understand, we need to help them understand that the practices that we're asking them to engage in as teachers are, first of all, well-informed, and they work. And we also need to focus, I think there needs to be a balance. You know, I don't think that a TA seminar, for example, that focuses all on theory and then say, all right, use this theory, now go do something, is going to be very effective. They need to see the practical day-to-day activities that they can use, and then attach the theory to that so they can understand why they're doing these things. My belief is that everything in life is theory-driven. From what we wear each day, to what we eat each day, to how we teach our courses and the kind of research that we do.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say about how we prepare to become better WPAs?
Well, I want to put in a plug for an organization that I belong to, the Council of Writing Program Administrators, which I think does a spectacular job on an ongoing basis of helping people to become better WPAs. If people did nothing more than subscribe to the listserv for WPA, that alone would help them to become better WPAs throughout the rest of their careers. But the organization does all sorts of other things. They have a mentoring program, the annual conference, the WPA Summer Institutes, the WPA Summer Workshop. So they're just terrific things going on in that organization.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you, Shirley.